there. It says, it's asking certain things. Have people been helpful with your transition or with your trauma? What has helped you if you even got it? Last time I remember in our other session, we spoke about triggers. And as I want to do that, it says, what are some of the things that make it more difficult for you when you're already upset? And that particular trigger that you know will cause you to escalate. So if you're upset, what is something that will escalate that? You know, what can actually escalate that when you're already upset? What's your trigger? Can somebody say something? There you go, like go over the edge part. That's it here. And it says some things like being touched, doors opening, people in uniform, loud noises, yelling, a particular time of the day, a time of the year, specific smells, as we said, not having control, input, and other things. Some of these things may be some of our children. So who want to step in on that? Like I say, when something, Rick is in? Okay.
You know, trauma, as like the brother was saying, when you got a trauma to take you over the edge, it triggers some things. You know, I had a trauma. I was went to a camp, and we was at the camp, and a guy went into the glen, and he was singing, and it's quick in the glen thing, and I tried to pull him out, and I fell in there. My trauma was we both had to get out, so we got out, and that never left my mind. Now, triggering something mentally in my head, like if I'm at home, some real life stuff, I'm at home and it happened to me. Been home for about 4 years, trying to get a job, got married, had a child. I'm at home, my wife, she was teaching school at the moment, and I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do. So I was working at the flower shop, wanted to make a long story short, got home, my wife started saying, we need to pay these bills. And I said to my wife, let me sit down and contemplate and figure out how we're gonna get the bills paid. And she kept going. Calm down, let me figure it out. So I triggered her emotion to say, why do I gotta calm down when I'm trying to help you do what we gotta do? That triggered me. Now I'm tearing up stuff. That's triggering me to go over the head. Hey, maybe if I slam a door, maybe if I punch a hole in the wall, maybe if I'm tearing up. So it came to me with that trauma, and I had to be able to control that trauma. So now I know how to control that trauma. I don't have to flip over a table to get you off my back to make you feel like, oh. And then sometimes it could go further than that, because they'll say, why don't you just go ahead and hit me? Because that's more trauma to take them over the edge to make you feel like now we both over the edge. So that I can understand, I can relate to that trauma. I've seen it. My brother just went through some trauma. He just went through some trauma that traumatized. He just went through some trauma that traumatized my family. He's diagnosed as bipolar. Everybody got issues there. We all bipolar, if you ask me. His friend that he's talking to, she's schizophrenic, bipolar as well. She acts out. So they got to going back and forth about something. And what he did, he told me that he did it to get her off his back. But he took a gun, wasn't loaded, and put it to his head and sent it to her. So when he sent that to her, it triggered, she sent it to the police. So now they got the police barricaded at my brother's house. This is on, it was an event I was going to. I think it was Kwanzaa. This was during Kwanzaa. So I left the place where I was at, go to my brother. He at the door. He telling me that he not coming out the house. The police police can escalate situations as well.
That's right.
The police can escalate a situation to where to trigger some things in you, you know, to say, well, you know, this and that, but that's another topic. So I get there, and they saying, I asked them what's going on, they trying to de-escalate it, and I said, okay, well, let me try to get my brother out of the house. Go up to the door, knock on the door, he ain't coming to the door, what's going on, yo, you not coming out, what we do, he ain't coming out. So I just asked him, because point blank, are you gonna harm yourself? Because that's the issue. Are you gonna do something to yourself? No, I'm not gonna do that. So okay, I don't need to be here no more. Because you done told me that you're not gonna do this act. So I tell the police, they trigger some things, but we'll be here all day. We got all day to wait till he come out. And I said, y'all shouldn't have all day to wait till he come out, because he's not gonna do nothing to himself. So I'm get back in my car to leave. I leave. When I leave, he opened the door. So now he done opened the door. I'm like, well, he's outside. So I'm like, why you want to talk to them? You're not talking to me about this situation, and I know the situation. So to make a long story short with that, the trauma that he went through, he's out now, back at home, and it triggered him for his by being bipolar. His blood pressure was up. So it took him to a loop with his mind to get her off of his situation. So he back to normal now. He's back to what he's supposed to be, but the situation with the mental trauma can happen to anybody. It can happen to anybody. And it is, I was just talking to my nephew on the phone. He was saying, you know, when he come home, that the anxiety or certain anxiety things that you might go through. And I know a lot of us go through anxiety. You know, I done been through some anxiety. You know, you go through that on a normal. You know, you get in a situation where when I first came home going to a job interview, it was hard for me to even sit down and talk to somebody about my job interview, because when they get to the part where have you ever been incarcerated and that part, then they want to talk about that. They want to say, well, we bring you to this facility to do this and that and the third. What's gonna happen? Then you might not getting a job, but if they do hire you there, then you got everybody watching, because they want to know, well, that's the brother that was this, that did that, or that's the sister that situation. So I don't want to take up no more of the time either. I want to hear other brothers speak on what's going on with coming together and helping one another through this trauma. Because that's what we need as well. We need that, you know, we need that as well. You know, I have children. I'm quite sure some of you brothers and sisters got brothers who got children, you know, that we need to focus on. Because those are